Hey, what's going on? It's DJ Sports back again with another episode. I got my co-host Reese with me, and today we're going to talk about the NFL and everything that's going on so far this season. Everything happened week 3. Look ahead to week 4. Before that, I'd like to remind you guys that you should follow us on all of our socials: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Our YouTube channel is also going. So DJ Sports Podcast. Register questions at DJ Sports Pod at gmail.com, and we'll answer any questions you have on the show. So let's get into the beer segment. Reese, what do you got for us today?
I got another small little. I'm sticking with my craft beers from the foothills. I got another one from Laverne Brewing Co. It's called the Palomares Friendly IPA. I always flip it up and it's always flipped, and that pisses me off. But yeah, it's the Palomares Friendly IPA from Laverne Brewing Co. It's a 7.1 alcohol percentage. What about you?
So I got something that we all know. Classic Modelo. Didn't,
Nice. Your
didn't have
favorite?
I didn't have any craft or anything crazy in my fridge, so I had to go with this. Didn't want to drink a White Claw,
Respect it.
but yeah, you know, everybody knows Modelo. So Reese, why don't you talk to us about it?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm being something spilled on the can, so I had to pour it into I had to bring a glass up and
Nice.
pour it into a glass for this one. Um, but it's an IPA, so I can promise you that I will most likely enjoy it. Oh yeah, it's called a friendly IPA. Do you know what that means?
I don't.
I've never heard that before at all, but it's delicious. It's like super easy. Well, actually, you would hate this. For people who don't like the bitter and stuff like that that comes with an IPA, you definitely would not enjoy this one because it's got a little bit of a bite to it, but it's really light. Like you can see the color. It's like really light and really clear.
Mhm.
So it's pretty good. I'm gonna give it crap. I need to keep a list of all my ratings because I'm just all over the board and I'm so random. I'm like, oh crap. I'm gonna
Dude,
go with a
we should make a spreadsheet.
yeah, dude. I, I can get on that. Damn, that's good. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a solid 8. That's a good IPA.
8, nice. It's a
Yeah,
pretty high rating.
yeah, that's a good one.
Should I rate this Modelo? Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
yeah, I gotta start my spreadsheet somewhere.
so I mean, Modelo Classic. For some reason, I like it better out of a can than the bottle. Because
You like it?
first, okay, I know like beer companies try to make their beer look different, but I don't see the point of the gold leaf stuff on the Modelo. Like, it just you open it, it just gets everywhere, uh,
Yeah,
and then you have to like kind of push it down so you don't like swallow some pieces of paper. Um,
yeah.
but yeah,
Sometimes it gets like stuck behind and stuff. Yeah, I
mhm.
agree. The cans can definitely be annoying. It's same with the Stellas. Always piss
Yeah,
me
yeah,
off
yeah.
about Stellas
All the
too.
paper, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. They try to do that for like marketing reasons too.
hmm but yeah, Modelo, I'd give it like a solid 7.2. It's a good beer.
Modelo 7.2. Let's go. All right, we're starting a spreadsheet. We're gonna be able to compare beers now.
Yeah, I mean, oh, also, can you specify as a can?
Yo, yeah, absolutely. Because then you're gonna have a bottle one time. I'm gonna have to remind you what your can rating
Yeah,
was.
exactly, and it's gonna have to be a little lower.
That's funny. That's funny. All right. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. So the first topic at hand, of course, is going to be the Monday Night Football game yesterday, where the Chiefs pretty much dominated the Ravens. I believe was the score 34-20.
Yeah.
And honestly, from start to finish, it was a pretty thorough beatdown of the Ravens. They just looked out of sync. They had didn't look like they had any chance of beating that Chiefs offense. Yeah, Reese, watching that game, what were your thoughts?
I mean, Chiefs are ready to defend their title for sure. I mean, first 2 weeks it was they were obviously pretty convincing, but this was completely different. On Monday Night Football, everybody watching, and just to have them completely demolish Baltimore the way that they did. I mean, this was kind of a close game for a little bit. Like Baltimore tried to make it a game, but it never really felt like it was ever going to be close. Like, it felt like Kansas City had it in the bag the entire time. So,
Right.
I'm just kind of I'm blown away that Patrick Mahomes is so freaking good at his age and stuff like that. And everyone wants to talk about this whole Mahomes Jackson rivalry and stuff, and I don't even know how we can call it a rivalry right now because he's just absolutely blown him out of the water. And all, what was that, like their fourth meeting now? So
Third meeting, I believe.
third meeting. Sorry. So I don't know, man. I think a lot needs to be said about the Ravens' performance, but I think credit just needs to be given to the Chiefs and how they showed up and how that offense looked, how that defense looked. It was all around just a Super Bowl performance. So
Yeah, definitely a statement victory in my opinion. And
yeah,
the Ravens, it wasn't even that Lamar played bad. It just looked like everyone was having a rough day, except for the kick returner, I guess.
yeah, but they got to have something that they can complain about. You know, there's got to be something at the end of the day that went wrong. So
Right. And I do think this is one of those situations where the score makes the game look a lot closer than it was, but it really wasn't that close. Like in the second half, the Chiefs had a fumble in near the red zone, and then they didn't get a 4th and 1. But if it wasn't for those two plays, then this game would be like 40 something to
yeah,
20. So
and
go ahead.
especially because of the second quarter that the Chiefs had. You know, it was just nonstop. It just felt like everything was clicking for them offensively and defensively, and taking that into half. Yeah, man, that was kind of incredible to watch, especially going up against a Baltimore Ravens defense that everyone's been respecting so much. Like coming into the season, they thought that they
Yeah,
were going to be top dogs and stuff,
yeah.
and it felt like they were absolutely no match for them. And if the Ravens aren't going to be a match for the Chiefs, then like who can we expect to take away their title? You know, like I don't see anybody from the AFC stepping up and
Mhm.
getting through them after something like that. But it's obviously such a long season. So
Right, and I was really surprised at how well the Chiefs defense played, because we already know about Mahomes and the offense, but they did a really good job of shutting down their entire passing attack. Lamar only had 93 passing yards, which was a career low,
yeah,
and even their run defense was great too, which is supposed to be the Chiefs' biggest weakness. I don't know if that's more about Ingram and Dobbins not playing well, or if it was just their run defense stepping up, because if you remember, David Johnson gashed them week 1. He had a great game, but they just had nothing going
yeah.
at any part of the offense.
I was gonna say, because one thing that I wanted to point out is that as good as the defense, like yes, the defense obviously looked incredible, and that was one of the biggest statements of the night was how good the defense is able to look. But at the same time, and give credit, like I said, we need to give credit to the Chiefs and like everything that they did. But Lamar Jackson missed on a lot of throws. Like he was not accurate at all, and like one of the best things about him and his dual threat that he has is how accurate he's been able to be when he drops back, and you basically have to respect that. But he missed. I mean, there were multiple different plays that he. Crap, I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting the touchdown that he just
Was
missed.
it Mark Andrews?
I was gonna say I wanted to say it was Mark Andrews, but I didn't know if it was because Boyle got the touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then Mark Andrews just missed on that touchdown at the end, and that was just a bad throw by Lamar Jackson. So, and most Chiefs fan would be like, oh, it's our defense causing that and stuff. But I just want to point out that like Lamar Jackson was not on his game during that game, and if he can, as we know, if he can play to like his potential and stuff like that, and if that offense can figure things out with the rushing attack, as you mentioned, Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins, like they weren't super effective, and I don't know if they're really being utilized the best way that they could be, and that's to be expected. It's new in this like little running back by committee that they have and stuff, but I think J.K. Dobbins just needs to be more involved. He's too talented to like not give him the ball, and they'll figure that out by week 17. They'll figure that out going into the playoffs, and they basically saw every damn playbook in Andy Reid's offensive arsenal last night. They saw all of the tricks that he could throw at them and stuff. So it's like, I think Baltimore can definitely use this matchup later on in the season. Like we're really going to be focusing in on this once the playoffs come, because how much that they can rebound and how much they learned from this matchup.
Right.
And I know I said the Chiefs, like how the heck is anybody going to stop them? But it's just going to be interesting when the playoffs come around, how they adjust to just an absolute abysmal performance that the Ravens have.
Right. And I mean, like you said, Andy Reid, we saw him going deep into his playbook. I think that was a sign of how big he thought this game was, because you don't just throw out all your trickery and all these throwing to your linemen or shovel past your fullback. Like, he obviously wanted to make sure that the Chiefs took care of business and sent a statement to the rest of the NFL. But yeah,
Yeah.
what do you think about the narrative? I don't know if you saw this, but the narrative that Lamar and the Ravens just can't do it like against good teams or like in big games.
I mean, until they do it, I think that's justified, and it's gonna be clouded over them, especially given their playoff struggles the past couple seasons. But this is, I mean, we can all agree that Lamar Jackson isn't quite the quarterback that Patrick Mahomes is, and he's a young guy who's learning. Like we said, they got a running back by committee that's learned. It's like, I think that the Ravens can rebound from this just fine. And obviously, like you said, yeah, that narrative is completely justified. And until they win a game, until they win a big playoff game, it's probably not going to go away. Until they beat the Chiefs, it's probably not going to go away realistically. Until Lamar Jackson can overcome Patrick Mahomes, that's going to be a justified narrative. But I think that narrative takes away from the talent of the Ravens a little too much. Like, this is still like a ridiculous team that we have, and probably the second or third best team in the NFL still, if you ask me. Even though they look so bad, it's like, when it's all said and done, this team's too talented and they'll figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I actually saw this crazy stat that said Lamar Jackson is 23-4 as a starter in the NFL, and 3 of those losses are to the Chiefs.
Yeah, to Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. So I think that just goes to show how dominant they've both been. But Pat Mahomes has just had Lamar's number every single time they've met. So
right, and I mean, some of it is obviously on the Ravens' defense.
Yeah, I mean that. Well, yeah, I mean but yes, it's on the Ravens defense, but at the end of the day, if you're going to be Lamar Jackson and you want to be able to contend with Pat Mahomes, you're going to have to put up more than 20 points. You're going to have to play a lot better than he played last night. So yeah, I mean, until he sees them again, until Lamar Jackson is putting on a show the way Mahomes did last night, I don't see how anybody can complain about that narrative. But yeah, I personally hope, like, for the story of it all, that Lamar Jackson, like, they can avenge it, and they can come over, because then we have our next Brady Manning rivalry, and I think that's what we all want in the NFL right now. So
yeah, I mean, there's a really good chance that we see both of these teams later down the road anyway.
Yeah, I mean, long season, so I don't want to get obviously too ahead of myself when I say all of this, but it was just it was a really good performance from the Chiefs. So
let's jump to the other division, AFC North, where, well, actually no, let's go back to the AFC West. So I mean, it looks like the Chiefs are going to run away with it. We have the Raiders that are 2-1, Chargers are 1-2, and your Broncos are 0-3 with the game against the Jets. There's a lot of injuries right now in Denver. But do you see like Raiders or Chargers being a playoff team at all? Because they both look like they have a lot of holes.
Yeah, I'm not as convinced about I'm more worried about the Chargers actually. I just think that figured it out a little bit that he doesn't need to be the superhero and stuff like that, and his short game passing is just been lights out for that offense right now, and we know how talented their rushing attack could be. So yeah, I mean, I think the Raiders can make some noise in the sense of pushing for that seventh playoff spot, but I don't know, man. Chargers with their injuries and potentially a rookie core. Like, I don't know if they're going to trust Justin Herbert moving forward. If Tyrod Taylor comes back, I don't know what the situation is there, but I think there's too many questions with the Chargers. Whereas I think the Raiders we know what they are, we know what kind of team they're about, and it's just a matter of them getting results.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have a lot of big games, and it's just a matter of them getting results. So
Yeah. Let's go to the AFC North. So not only are the Ravens not undefeated anymore, they're not even first place in their division because the Steelers are 3-0. Steelers with Big Ben back, they look like the Steelers that we've known for so long, the team that's always fighting for division and playoff spot. Um, I mean I'm pretty sure the Steelers are going to be locked in for a playoff spot, as are the Ravens. But the question is, can the Cleveland Browns make some noise and compete for a wild card spot? They have so much talent on both sides of the ball. We all know, but it's about putting it together. What do you think, Reese?
I mean, about the Browns specifically, push for a playoff spot, I think it's possible, but given the division they're in, man, it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be pretty tough for them to make it through a division like that, given the struggles that we know they can have on any given Sunday and that Baker can have on any given Sunday. So, do I think that they'll make the playoffs? I don't know if I'll go. I think they can make some noise if they can. I mean, they got to play both of them 4 times, right? So.
Mm-hmm. They haven't played. Well, they played the Ravens once, but yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But I don't know, man. I'm just worried about getting through a tough division. We know what, like, when you're in a tough division like that, we know how hard it is to be the third team coming out of it. And I just don't know if the AFC North is going to be the division that gives us 3 teams in the playoffs this year, even though it is a little bit easier with the 7th spot opened up. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. So let's go to the AFC East. The Bills held off the Rams in what was a really crazy game. Rams came back from 25 points down and won on a controversial PI call. I'll leave it at that. And then the Patriots took care of business against the Raiders and blew them out at home. So yeah, we talked about the Bills and the Pats last podcast, and it's going to be these two guys fighting for the division. Honestly, yeah, watching that Buffalo game though, like I was really impressed again with Josh Allen, of course. Another great game for him, and Rams have a pretty good defense. Yeah, they fought back from being down, and Josh Allen, came down the field again. We had some mistakes, gave up a huge 30-22 twice, and yeah, he's really shown how much of a leap he's taking this year. The confidence to drive down the field for a game-winning touchdown. That's something that I don't know if he could have done last year. But so speaking of the AFC and who could compete with the Chiefs, I honestly think that Bills might be one of the best options just because of their defense. Might be a bold statement, but I really like their defense a lot. Their secondary is really good. They might have enough playmakers on that side of the ball to give Mahomes trouble. No one's gonna shut the Chiefs offense down, but I think it might be enough to just give them problems.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's too bold of a statement, especially with the way that Josh Allen's playing. We know how important quarterback play could be, and with the threat that he poses, and I mean, the weapons that we know that they have around them, and it's probably only going to get better with Diggs around. You got a rookie running back around and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, I think you make a great point, and I was so quick to just assume that it's going to be the Ravens. But yeah, when you're really looking at it, the Bills actually hold probably a much better chance actually of posing a threat because of what that defense could potentially do, you know? And my only worry about the Bills is the coaching, though. I don't see like, and it's like when it comes to a winner take all AFC Championship game against the Chiefs and Andy Reid, I don't see a Bills team like that emerging. I mean, I had my worries about them. We talked about this at the beginning of the year about them even taking over the Patriots for the division, and I mean, the Patriots are right there, right on their ass. Like, we could even see a potential case that this team slows down and they don't even get first in their division, you know? So I'm really high on the Bills right now. I'm really high on Josh Allen and stuff, but I still don't think anybody's going to be a true match for the Chiefs, you know? And come week 14, week 15, I hope to God I'm wrong, but I just don't see I don't see anybody like talent wise and coaching wise being able to like really put something on the table that's going to be able to beat the Chiefs unless the Chiefs beat themselves, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But everything that you brought up about the Bills is like dead accurate, because what Josh Allen is doing right now is the exact kind of thing that like rides a team to a championship. And it is a rock solid defense that he can ride on the back of as well. So
right,
they're definitely going to be scary. And they got some toss-up games against the Jets and the Dolphins this year too. So
mm-hmm.
yeah,
What do
it's gonna be
you
interesting.
with 3 games gone? What do you see from the Patriots so far? I mean, they've been doing their thing. You know, Belichick taking care of business so far, but yeah, what do you see from them right now?
I mean, a little bit of I think what we expected. I think Cam Newton has impressed me a lot more than I was expecting. I didn't think that he was gonna fit in as seamlessly as he has, but when you like think about it and you're like, oh hey, this is one of the best dual threat quarterbacks we've seen in the last 10 years, and this is one of the best offensive coordinators we've seen in the past 10 years, with the best head coach we've seen in the past however many years, and it's like, yeah, no shit, this is going to work out. So I think it was a bit, I don't know, I think it was a bit dumb that so many people were down on the Patriots, and I don't think either one of us were, but you know, I think they'll be a dead solid team this year. You know, 10-6, or I'm sorry, 10-6, 9-7, something like that. So,
Right.
what do you think about that defense specifically? Because I think that was everybody's like worry, was about like all the weapons that they were going to lose, and if that defense could be anything like the same. But like,
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think it'll be the same as last year. You know, that
yeah,
defense last year was just elite. But you know,
they can still hold up in terms of like the AFC though,
yeah,
right? Like,
definitely.
I mean, you're still looking at like, that are still. I'm just saying, staff and stuff like that, they can still figure it out. You know, it's not going to be the same defense, but it'll be rock solid.
Yeah, and I look at the AFC, and like obviously, you know, the Chiefs and Ravens are the 2 top tier offenses, but I don't think the Patriots really have to worry about another elite offense. Like, who else is the third best offense in that conference? Like, maybe the Steelers or the Browns. Like,
Yeah,
if I'm Belichick, like, yeah, of course, Chiefs and Ravens they're the top 2, but other than those guys, like, I think your defense can like give a lot of these other AFC teams problems.
yeah, definitely, and yeah, I think you put it out perfectly. Like when you're really thinking about this, like yeah, on paper the Patriots haven't been anything special. spectacular, but when you really compare their defense and their offense to like each of these teams, they're really not that far behind anybody in the league. And having Bill Belichick is just huge when it comes to January, February football. So
That's such a huge advantage you have over another coach.
exactly, it's insurmountable what he brings to the table as compared to like so many of these players that we want to talk about and stuff. So yeah, I'm never ready to ride out the Patriots until they've written themselves out. So I think what we've seen so far from them has been kind of what we can expect to see the rest of the year. They'll probably lose some tough games, and they'll probably take care of all the easy teams. So
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I think they should comfortably have a playoff spot.
yeah, agreed.
Let's go to the AFC South. This division's always is a wild adventure, and I don't think this year is different. Especially with we have players on the Titans and allegedly the Vikings contracting COVID. The first case we have so far in this young NFL season. Titans are supposed to play the Steelers, but we'll see how that plays out on Sunday.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm just laughing. So like, there had to be a bet in there somewhere that the AFC South was going to be the first damn league to contract COVID and have all these issues.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's so funny. That's just the epitome of the AFC South right there. But yeah, I mean, it seems like this league does this to us every year where it's like, who the hell is going to win it? Like, are you convinced on the Colts yet?
No, honestly, not at all. Like that defense, I think the defense is pretty good. They have playmakers and they've been playing well. But right now, the Colts' schedule has been pretty cupcakes stuff. So I mean, they played the Jaguars, lost to the Jaguars, beat the Vikings, and the Vikings look terrible right now. And then they beat a god awful Jets team. So yeah, I mean, they're playing the Bears this week and the Browns the week after. So I think we'll learn a lot more about them. But yeah, right now they don't do a lot to inspire.
Yeah, but I think that might be kind of who they're going to be all season, where they're not going to be. I mean, it's a Philip Rivers team first of all, so I don't think that they're going to be flashy. They're not going to be incredibly fun to watch outside of like a Jonathan Taylor, lighting up the stat sheet and stuff. But I kind of disagree in terms of. Well, I don't want to say I disagree because I don't think you really made a statement there, but like I'm kind of impressed by this team a little bit. And maybe this was just like my week one antics like getting to me, but something about Philip Rivers like running this offense, like especially if he can have Jonathan, like I wish Marlon Mack was healthy, but if he can have Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines be like a solid like running back duo that they could potentially be, and if he can get his wide receiver weapons like to be weapons, like in terms of injuries and T.Y. Hilton. Then I think that they could be kind of taking a step back in terms of being like the dominant rushing attack, the team that they were last season. So I think the door is a little bit open for somebody to take. I'm and I'm gonna call it right now.
Yeah, so that was the point about the receivers is that they're actually kind of in a tough spot right now because Ty he has to step up. Michael Pittman and Paris Campbell are both hurt, so he's gonna have to step up a big game. And also a fantasy sleeper, Mo Alley Cox. Phil Rivers has been targeting him a lot, so he might be a focal point in the offense now.
Philip loves his tight ends, so.
But I want to talk about the Titans for a second. They're 3-0. We all know the playoff run that they made last year. The offense revolves around Derrick Henry. They had AJ Brown, who's been hurt these last couple of games, but they somehow still managed to hang in there and win these games. What do you look at what do you think of the Titans right now after 3 games?
I'm not convinced about them at all, to be honest. I think that this is a team that could. I mean, I don't want to speak too soon, but I'm just they've done nothing to convince me of anything yet. They just let a passing or they just let a Minnesota Vikings team or heavily rushing offense just light up the stat sheet in terms of passing. They've yet to be like super convincing rushing on the ground. I know when you look at Derrick Henry's stat sheet, he's still like doing well and stuff, but this isn't the Derrick Henry and this isn't the I think the Tennessee Titans offense that we're like super used to. But Ryan Tannehill does look pretty good. So that's the only thing that I will say is that Tannehill, if he keeps playing well, then I think Derrick Henry and that rushing attack will figure itself out and they can be the same damn thing. But I mean, just so far against the 3 teams that they've played, they just haven't been. They don't look like the team that was just sitting in the AFC Championship last season. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know about you. I don't know if you think a little bit differently, but I think that, like I said earlier, I think that this is a team that can easily, not easily be overtaken, but I think they've opened the door for somebody to step up, somebody in that division to step up and take it from them.
Yeah, I mean, all 3 of their games have been decided by a field goal or less, and they've played the Broncos, the Chargers, or the Jaguars and the Vikings. So not exactly a gauntlet of a schedule, but yeah. So as someone who owns Derrick Henry, I would like his yards per carry to go a little up. He's been getting like 100+ yards every game, but I mean they give him the ball like 30 times.
Yeah.
So I would like that running game to get more going. But the thing with Derrick Henry is that he always gets going in the second half of the season. That's
Yeah.
usually how it goes for him. But we'll see if they can put that together. And also, not having AJ Brown is definitely a huge part, uh, a huge loss for them so far.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, every team is, I think, definitely feeling the injury bug. And like you said, second half of the season is where the Titans have, I think, always, or at least in the last few seasons with Mike Vrabel, that's where they've really made their noise. So I think they'll use up until it looks like they got a bye week 7. So they'll probably use up until that bye week. Gosh, they actually have some tough opponents coming up. They got Pittsburgh and Buffalo coming up, and then a struggling Houston. So I think we'll obviously, like you said earlier, we'll figure out a lot more about this team and see just what kind of team they're going to be about, But coming out of that bye week, they got to look a lot better than they've looked than they've been playing these first 3 seasons, especially giving up 30 points back-to-back weeks to the Jaguars and the Vikings. That's not acceptable.
So let's move on to the NFC. The first division we're talking about is an absolute messy division, the NFC East, where we have the Washington football team and the Cowboys tied for the lead at 1-2. Eagles, they just tied with the Cincinnati Bengals, and then the Giants are 0-3. I mean, this division is an absolute shit show. Every single team is negative in point differential. The only division in the NFL where every single team is negative. But yeah, so I mean, numbers, tell you that. But I mean, with the eye test, like you already know how terrible it's been. I mean, but Cowboys, they should take care of business, even though they haven't looked great. They've had a pretty tough schedule though, playing the Rams and the Cowboys. Or sorry, they're playing the Rams and the Seahawks. Hey, yeah, the Cowboys played the Rams and the Seahawks. What do you like? You look at Carson Wentz right now, and just what is the issue? Like, is it because of all the injuries, or do you think he has like more underlying issues right now?
I mean, I haven't really focused in on any Eagles games this year to like really see if this is like an offensive line issue, like what this could be. But this, I I feel like this has been happening with Carson ever since his knee injury and ever since like the whole Super Bowl issue and stuff like that with Nick Foles. It's like he just hasn't been the same like confident, like dangerous quarterback that they drafted and stuff. And regardless of like, you can only complain about lack of options for so long for a guy, like eventually you got to start to look at the quarterback himself and like, okay, is he throwing an accurate ball? Like, is like this guy can freaking run the damn ball, and we haven't seen Carson Wentz run the damn ball. So like, maybe this is something that his coach told him that, hey, we don't want you to put your like body out on the line. I don't know, but he's got to, with the team that they have, he's got to just take matters into his hands a lot more, and he's got to be he was the second overall pick. He's got to be like the top guy that they drafted, and he's got to be Big Dick Nick and lead this team. And I don't think that we've really seen that from him since his injury. So I don't want to blame him too much because of the injuries, like you said, but I still think that he needs to shoulder some of it, and he needs to basically look at himself in the mirror and say that he's got to be a lot better if they want to have any chance of making the playoffs or doing anything in this shit show of a division. Because the Cowboys on paper are a lot better, and they have a lot better chance to figure it out. So
Right. I mean, I'm sure the Cowboys will figure it out because, like you said, the talent, their schedule hasn't been great. They could easily be 0-3 right now if the Falcons weren't the Falcons. But yeah, what do you think about the decision by Doug Peterson to punt the ball when they were like at the 50 in overtime?
yeah, I mean, probably it's like, I guess he's probably playing the analytics game at that point. I don't know. I would assume that that's what he was doing. But dude, you're the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, you got to have more balls than that. So like, if I was an Eagles fan, I'd be pissed off. And given everything going on in Philly right now, hopefully he doesn't take all the blame.
Right. I mean,
But it's decisions like that city is like really going to focus in on.
and like we know Doug Peterson like has balls. Like we saw in the Super Bowl. It's just a thing about he just doesn't have the same confidence in this team right now that I guess he would hope to. And obviously you can't really compare this team to a Super Bowl team, but it's just
Yeah.
you're playing not to lose.
But if you think about that, like, I know this isn't the same team. I know maybe, like you said, he probably doesn't have the same confidence in these guys right now that he did, with Nick Foles on that night when he was calling the Philly special and stuff like that. But when you look at a coach like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady goes down with an injury and Matt Castle comes in, that's the same damn Patriots team calling the same damn play, is like being the same, like nothing changes. And that's why the Patriots have been able to be good for so damn long. That's why Cam Newton walks into there and is seamless. It's been perfect for them. I don't want to say perfect, but it's been really good for them. So if you want to like really be a successful coach in the NFL, like I think you need to just have that balls out confidence in your guys at all times. Like if you're gonna be that guy. And if you're going to be a safe, conservative coach, then you need to be a safe, conservative coach in all manners and all aspects of the game, no matter who your X's and O's are,
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I think Doug Peterson might be kind of messing up a little bit. Like, and I appreciate where he stood by Carson Wentz, but he needs to treat Carson Wentz as he treated Nick Foles, and he needs to freaking light a fire into that guy's ass, because that guy's way too talented to be performing the way that he's been,
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, yeah, they're both going to get the boot if they don't figure it out at the end of the season. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you could fire Doug Peterson though. After I said that though, I was like, wait, I don't know if you could fire him so soon after that win. So
I think they'll give him like maybe a year or two, get some healthy guys. Maybe move on to Jalen Hurts and see what he can do with him.
That's what I was going to say. They'll move on from Carson way before they'll move on from Doug. So
Mm-hmm. let's go to the NFC North.
Yep.
So the Packers took care of the Saints on Sunday night. It was another impressive showing from Rodgers in that offense. Packers moved to 3-0. Also in that division are the Chicago Bears, who moved to 3-0 after coming back against the Atlanta Falcons. Mitchell Trubisky's benched, but in Nick Foles does what he does. Then another comeback. So this Bears team, surprisingly 3-0. I honestly didn't expect much from them coming into this season. But do you think this makes them a threat for not only the division but a playoff spot?
Yes, absolutely, dude. This team actually kind of, they don't scare me or anything, but I mean, they're rock solid now. If they can get Nick Foles to do what he's done everywhere else in his career, then they just fix their quarterback play. They got a rock solid quarterback, at least for the season. And they got threats everywhere else on the field. So, yeah, pretty much the only thing holding them back is the fact that they got the Green Bay Packers to be a threat for a playoff position this year. Because so far, with such a hot start at 3 now, and that was through their quarterback struggles. Yeah, I mean, I think they'll at least be in the playoffs. I don't know how far they can get and stuff like that, but yeah, I think this has been one of the surprises this season so far.
Yeah, I mean, they've only given up 62 points, so that defense is solid. One of the better defenses I think in the NFC. It's still Khalil Mack, of course, good secondary. Yeah, just having Nick Foles in the mix, like, it makes this team a lot more interesting to me because you have Allen Robinson, you have David Montgomery, who's a solid running back. So I think they're like just that sneaky team that on a good day they might be able to upset a team. I think the Packers will take care of the division because they look like such a well-rounded team right now. But Bears might be able to make some noise, like you said.
Yeah, and I mean, we thought the NFC West was going to be ridiculous, and I mean, I know the 49ers are still doing okay at 2-1, but I'm a little worried about them. So, like, I just think there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of room in the NFC for a team like the Bears to just have like a hot season, or just anybody to have a hot season and like really make some noise, because outside of the Packers and the Seahawks, I think the door for the third team in the NFC is like kind of like wide open right now. And yeah, with the defense that we've seen the Bears like capable of having, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to throw themselves in that conversation and ask, like, why not us, especially with Big Dick Nick running the show, dude. It doesn't even make them it not only interesting, but it makes it fun. It makes it a really, really fun story for, at least for me personally, to follow. I've always loved the NFC North and everything that division like brings to the NFL, and I don't know, having a franchise like the Chicago Bears like make some noise like that, it gets me excited.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have some Allen Robinson stock, so um, hey,
we get excited over this crap for very different reasons.
no, but to Nick Foles' point, I was genuinely happy to see him enter the game because I mean, after everything he's done, and he's just like such an interesting character in NFL. So yeah, I mean, that team should be fun to watch. What do you think about the Lions? I mean, they've been competitive. They probably should have beat the Bears week 1, but with Galladay back, the offense got back to what expected, and they beat a pretty good Arizona Cardinals team. So you know, this NFC is going to be such a battle for playoff spots. But if they could maybe string some wins together, get everyone healthy, play some defense, they might be able to
and
make some noise, but it's gonna be tough.
and the Minnesota Vikings are probably they're definitely the best 0-3 team in the league. They're definitely the best winless team in the league, if you ask me.
Better than the
And
Texans.
oh, shit. Okay. But yeah, maybe not better than the Texans. But well, yeah, actually, yeah, yes. Yes, fuck the Texans, dude. I don't like the Texans at all. I love Deshaun and stuff like that, but Bill O'Brien is a bum, dude. Yeah, I don't even want to. We'll save that for another pod. But just that the NFC North overall, like with the Minnesota Vikings, when you're looking at the Minnesota Vikings being the 0-3 team in that division, and like you said, the Lions struggling at 1-2 right now, but that offense is if that offense gets clicking, that's going to be scary.
Mhm.
They could have the best running back committee in the league. They can have one of the best passing offenses in the league. And if they can have a defense that steps up for them big this season, then yeah, they can make a bunch of noise too. So, and I think that win against Arizona in Arizona was one of those. That could be one of those wins that really like kickstarts a team. At an important time, getting Kenny Golladay back, and getting right before we get into the meat of the season and stuff. They could string a couple wins together right now. It could be interesting for sure.
Yeah. Let's get to the NFC South. So this division, you know, all the talk that people were saying about Brady, how how he's 43. He didn't look the same. They're sitting after 3 weeks. They're sitting in first place at 2-1. Their defense looks as good as it did last year. That run defense was one of the best, and they've only given up about 20 points a game through the first 3 games. The offense looks like it's starting to show flashes of what it could like when it starts clicking. And also the main thing is like the Saints. They just look like they have so many holes right now. Drew Brees is showing his age, especially with no Michael Thomas. That game, the only reason the Packers game was even close was because Alvin Kamara was just putting his team on his back, basically. But yeah, this division looks like up for grabs, and I would not be surprised at all if the Buccaneers won the division because the Saints look like they have a lot of holes on both sides of the ball. What do you think about the Bucs and the Saints?
I 110% agree with everything that you just said. That was pretty much everything that I had to say about this division. And when you really if you really want to like nitpick and like look at like schedules like win for win and stuff, and I hate being the guy who does this. But when you look at the Bucs schedule, their December, their last 4 games are Vikings, Falcons, Lions, Falcons. So those are 4 very winnable games, depending on what kind of team we're looking at the Lions being. But those are 4 very winnable games, and especially a Tom Brady in December type of guy. So yeah, I worry about the Saints big time this year, and if they can last a full season being competitive, because if they're showing all of these signs, I mean, we were seeing them week 1 and stuff, or week 1 and 2, then yeah, I'm big worried for New Orleans and Drew Brees and all of that kind of stuff. And I would hate for Tom Brady walking in the division, be the guy that like sends Drew Brees into his retirement and stuff. But I'm thinking that's going to be the case because outside of Alvin Kamara, I'm not excited about that Saints squad right now.
No, I mean, and you would like even with Michael Thomas out, I think it's the issue that they've had for so long. They just don't have that second receiver. They expected Emmanuel Sanders to be that guy, but he's done basically nothing this year. Jared Cook, he got hurt, so they really don't have much else. And that defense, which was solid last year at times, they've looked like a shell of themselves, giving up a lot of points, giving up about 30 a game. So yeah, a lot of problems right now if you're a Saints fan.
Yeah, I would definitely be a little bit worried about what's going on there. And then yeah, obviously having Tom Brady in the division now and a really solid viable option to take over the number 1 spot. I'd be worried, but I wouldn't be so worried to think that this is a team that's gonna. I mean, I would still like to think that the Saints make the playoffs, right? Do you think that they can turn around and like still like claim a playoff spot?
Yeah,
Or I was gonna say, or do you think that their struggles are like that drastic? right
No,
now.
I mean they definitely can, and I mean we still need to see Michael Thomas back. Uh, they still have to play the Panthers and the Falcons 4 times, so you have to think that they're gonna win most of those games.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they play the Bucks in a couple of weeks, and that might be the game that decides the division already.
That's true. I mean, if they can get 2 games over, like, yeah, if they can get 2 games over the Bucks, then I mean that could be the deciding factor at the end of the day. So
11 November 8th on Sunday night they play.
gosh, that's gonna be an incredible Sunday night football game.
That's gonna be something.
That's gonna be awesome.
All right, let's get to what I think is the best division in the NFL, the NFC West. Like we talked about, the NFC East having every single team with negative point differential. The NFC West is the only team in the NFL with all everyone has a positive differential, point differential. So the Seahawks are 3-0. Cardinals, Rams, Niners, all 2-1. So you know each of these teams they have their holes, especially the Niners who've been dealing with so many injuries. Um, but they all look like they're going to be competitive for the whole season. Like even the Cardinals, which was kind of a wild card coming in, they've been playing great football. Kyler looks really good. I have some questions about the defense, but I mean that offense looks really really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially what's going on like with Kyler Murray, like everyone was excited about that offense going in, and they've completely like backed up all the talk and stuff. So as long as the defense can keep performing, then the Cardinals are going to be exactly who we thought they were going to be. And the Seahawks, I mean, I think we like, dude, Russell Wilson. This guy's ridiculous. So if the Seahawks are going to keep being this team that we've seen through 3 weeks, and the Cardinals can keep backing it up, then yeah, I mean the Rams are gonna have to win a lot of tough games. Like they lost a tough one to the Bills this weekend, and that could probably be one of the few games this year outside of the division that they like drop in terms of like tough games, because it's going to be a tough division to get 3 teams out of, But if there's going to be a team out of the NFC, or there's going to be a division out of the NFC, it's definitely the NFC West, because yeah, I completely back you on the idea that it's probably the best division in football. Um,
Yeah, I mean, as a Rams fan, I'm really happy with how we've looked so far. We've shown flashes of that Super Bowl team that made the big game a couple of years ago. The running attack looks good. We're using it right now a 2-3 headed horse depending on how Cam Akers' health is. Daryl Henderson looked great, and the receivers. I mean, he's getting everybody involved. Not only are the receivers catching the ball and Jared Goff getting to him, but the receivers are wide open. So that just shows the great scheme that Sean McVay is running right now, getting the receivers into perfect positions for that yards after catch. So yeah, I'm happy with how we've looked so far for sure, but it's still really early in the season.
yeah. No, I think if I can speak about the Rams, because I know you don't want to be like too biased on them and stuff. But like everything that they've done so far this season is exact, like especially like you said, as a Rams fan, it's exactly what you want to see and stuff. But it just sucks that they're in the division that they're in, and it's going to
Yeah.
be, and it's potentially going to be as tough as it's going to be. But again, like I think I like to do this. Like I like to look at teams and like, okay, look at every single game that they have, win loss, win loss, win loss. Like how is it all going to look? And like for the Rams, like it's looking. I mean, dude, they're going to be one of those teams that we're watching in December, and I'm probably going to be watching every single game of theirs, because they got the Cardinals. They got both matchups with the Cardinals, who, if we could both say, like the Seahawks are probably going to be the best team in the division. So when you got both of those teams meeting up for both of their matchups in December, it's everything you want in football. So in NFL especially. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're both healthy at that point. The two head coaches going at it, Sean McVay and Cliff Kingsbury, like putting their guys into position and stuff like that. It's just going to be, I think the Rams and Cardinals, like this whole division race and with the two offenses that they've had and everything, like it's just going to be one of those like really fun storylines to watch the rest of the season. And I know that you don't want to get like too giddy about it because you're a Rams fan, but I'm like really excited about this, everything going on with the top three teams in this division. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. A lot more football.
And it's kind of crazy to say that I just said all of that. Sorry, I'm on a lag here, but it's kind of crazy that I just said like all of that and don't even mention the freaking 49ers who were in the Super Bowl last season. You
Right.
know, like it's just crazy.
Yeah. They're dealing with so many injuries, but they get their players back. Jimmy comes back. Debo is coming back soon. Who knows? They can make a run. There's no reason why they can't. They have, Kyle Shanahan's a great coach. That defense still is really good. So, yeah, just a brutal division.
Can I get your take on like the Cardinals specifically? Like, because so far they've beaten the 49ers and they've beaten the Redskins and then they lost at home to the Lions.
Yeah. So
Does that loss at home to the Lions kind of like worry you about this team a little bit?
um, it it kind of worried me a little bit in the sense that Kyler did not look good at all. He threw 3 picks, and some of them were questionable decisions. But young quarterback mistakes, which I think he'll fix. There are some things that worry me in the sense, like Kenyon Drake hasn't gotten going at all. That defense is really spotty, but I think those issues are fixable. They're a good team, and they're gonna be fighting for a playoff spot, especially looking at their schedule coming up. Um, there's no reason that they shouldn't go 4-1 right now because they're playing the Panthers and the Jets back to back, and then they have a game against Cowboys, Seahawks, Dolphins. So we're looking at a team that should be around like 5-3 by the midpoint of the season. But yeah, one thing I do like is how much they've gotten DeAndre Hopkins involved. They know that he's probably the best player on the team. He's averaging about 10 catches a game, so that's a good sign for sure because you know he's such a problem for everybody on the defense. And he's like when you have a young quarterback and you have a weapon like him that you can rely on. I noticed that he's not even running that like those far of routes. They're just giving him the ball in space, like maybe 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, and they're just letting him go to work. So that offense I think is going to be so good that they're gonna be fighting in a lot of games, even if that defense doesn't show up.
Yeah. No, yeah, and I think everything you said about DeAndre Hopkins is key because, like, when a team makes a move like that, like, you just got to hope that they're not going to, like, overthink things and, like, just put the damn ball in DeAndre's hands, like, and that could be half of the reason why Kenyon Drake isn't really popping off yet is because they're so focused on that and keeping the ball in Kyler's hand and whatnot, so. But I just worry about them being a young team and them just like as you said, like a Panthers, Jets, Cowboys, Seahawks. Like, yeah, those are 4 games where they should win 3 of them, but at the same time they could easily come out of that 2-2. Like with being the young team that they are, I just worry about them losing some like really questionable games. And I mean, with how brutal an NFL season and NFL schedule can be and stuff, that's obviously all the difference at the end of it.
Right, especially in the division.
So, and with a team like the Rams pressuring down on them and stuff, it could be tough. So that's my only like big question mark on them, given the performance at home against the Lions. So,
yeah. So that was pretty much every team in every division. We'll try to check in, next week. See how the rest of the season plays out. Before we wrap it up, we like to do our fantasy check-in. So we're just gonna talk about our teams, talk about player we love, player we hate this week. Reese, why don't you get us started?
Oh shit. Player that I love. No, I'm gonna need you to get it started. I need to
All
look at my team from last week.
right, no problems. So after 2 straight weeks of going 1-2 in my 3 leagues, I finally got a winning week. Went 2-1, which puts me at 4-5 on the year. So not the best record. I'm 2-1 in 2 leagues, but I'm 0-3 in another. So really bringing down my record there. Yeah, what's unfortunate in the league that I'm 0-3 is I'm like sixth in points, but I'm by far have the most points against. I just had our friend Bayern drop 160 on me, so it's tough times right now. But hopefully figured it out. It's still a long season. But yeah, player I love this week had to be Derrick Henry. First time in 3 games that he got into the end zone, and not only did he get into the end zone, he got in there twice. So always a good sign when your first round pick scores touchdowns. The great thing was that not only did he score, but um, he scored. The Titans got a turnover, and then he scored about like 2 minutes later. So he had 2 touchdowns in a span of about 5 minutes. A player that I hate. So this one was kind of an easy decision. I have DJ Moore in 3 leagues, all 3 of my leagues, and he put up a whopping 6 points against the Chargers defense. So yeah, that was tough. And honestly, 6 points was generous because he was absolutely shut out for most of the game. He caught like a long pass in the fourth quarter, which is the only reason he had 6 points. But yeah, tough week from him after having like 18 last week. So hopefully he comes back and steps up again.
Damn, you were ready for that, bro. All right. I'm sticking with our league. I know you like to do the whole recap and stuff, but I got too much shit going on in all these leagues and stuff. So
For sure.
so I'm just sticking it with our league and stuff. And the player I love is easily the player. I mean, he didn't win me the what matchup, but he played on Monday night and he technically won me the matchup. Was my boy from LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, getting me. I mean, I think I only needed 12 points from him on Monday night, but he obviously came through and did what he had to do. But he cut it pretty close by waiting until the fourth quarter. So it gave Ronak the confidence to start texting me and talking shit. And as soon as he starts talking shit, I feel the need to talk shit back. And as soon as I talk shit back, it's like, oh, I just jinxed myself. Like I just totally screwed myself. And there was like a long period of time where I was winning by like 1.88 points or something like that. So if Clyde fumbled, I would have been screwed. And I was like, dude, I just know this is gonna happen. Clyde's gonna fumble, but he didn't. He's rock solid. He's everything you want in an RB1. So
Yeah, and he could have easily scored, twice.
exactly. Yeah, no, I freaking love that guy. But player I hate, actually, for this one, I'll go outside of our league because, like you said, I won, so it kind of feels weird to do a player I hate. And I went out on a limb and started Joshua Kelly at my flex in my other league. I'm struggling in that league. Let me start by saying that. That's why I'm in the position now to start Joshua Kelly at my
I bet.
flex. But yeah, so I really struggled, and dude put up 5.2 points for me. I just needed him to get a touchdown. That's all he had to do, and he put up 42 yards and a fumble. So fuck Joshua Kelly. Yeah, I could have traded his ass like 3 weeks or 2 weeks ago when I first picked him up, but I decided to hang on to him because I thought that he would be a pretty serviceable like flex option when I needed him. And then I needed him as a flex option. He was absolutely not serviceable. So I guess he works for the hate column this week.
Oh man, yeah, that rushing attack. It looks like it's just Eckler and nothing
Yeah,
else.
yeah. I was hoping goal line work. Dude, I'm struggling. All right, I'm struggling.
Hey, I'm 0-3 in one league.
That's the league I'm 0-3
Yeah, it
in
happens.
also. So yeah, rough, very rough. We'll get there.
Yeah, still a long season. So yeah, we'll have to cover the week 4 games next week. Reese, thanks for coming on. Always a good time. Remember, you can follow us on our socials: DJ Sports Podcast, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Reach us for questions at our email, djsportspod@gmail.com. Yeah, thanks, Reese. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Maybe we can talk some soccer soon too.
Yeah,
Get Bobby on. We can talk some Premier League.
yeah, absolutely. Would love to do that. All right, we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for listening.